So you've missed the big Bitcoin pump, and worst of all, everybody around you is bragging about their gains on social media. So now you're thinking of yourself, since everything is pumping, it's the best time to get into the market since you don't want to lose more gains. Well, congratulations, you have felt FOMO, the fear of missing out. And in this video, I want to show you a 3-step process that could help you manage your FOMO and actually even overcome it. I'm going to show you real life examples from my experience, and even I think in the 3rd step, there are some tips that could transform your life overall, not just your trading. Let's jump right into it. I want to start with a story because it doesn't matter how experienced you are in trading, you will probably at some point feel some FOMO. And this for me was the latest portion of big fat FOMO that I felt. The ticker is Big Time. This is a brand new token. It's a game. I did the research on it. I like the fundamentals. It's listed on Coinbase. You know, a lot of boxes are ticked. And that's why I decided to enter here on this red line. It was November 5th. And as you can see, we had the initial pump here. We broke out of this market structure. So we had a higher high first, and then on the higher low forming right here, I decided to enter. And then my thesis was that since Bitcoin was at a tricky spot, but gaming was already pumping quite a lot, maybe potentially this token will pump sooner or later. It wasn't looking really pretty, honestly. So after a few days, you can see here that I took some profit. This was around 30% profit or so from my entries. And later, since the price was developing something like this, I decided that I want to get out of this position because here Bitcoin was testing 37 or 38K. We had like 6 or 7 weeks already in a row of green. And I was like, you know, what the hell? I want to de-risk here. This is not a huge position for me. So let me close it out at around 30% profits total. And then after this, just a few days after that, this thing happened. And it made me really angry, and I was so pissed at myself that I didn't see this coming, that I couldn't help but feel a lot of FOMO. And I didn't enter, but I missed on around 500 to 600% gains here. I didn't enter secondary because I don't think FOMO is a good advisor, and that's why I try to avoid trading. There were a few things that I didn't see on the chart, but yeah, this is definitely a massive episode that I had. And as you can see, it was for a good reason. And by the way, just looking at this right now after a few days, I do think that what happened here with Big Time was probably the best thing that happened to me this year. Although I've had a pretty good year, I've made a bunch of money already. I think this here was really the most important thing that I could learn, but I will tell you a little bit later why exactly was that. So what is the very first thing that you need to do when you start feeling a lot of FOMO? First, I think definitely you should sit down and zoom out and review your plan. So going back to Bitcoin here in this example, if we go on to the weekly, as I told you, ignore this last couple of weeks here, but this is when everything played out with Big Time. And I was like, look at this. We're having a bunch of green weeks. We were facing some resistance here in the 35, 37K area. And I thought, okay, maybe it's time for us to correct. And that was part of the whole thesis. Also, gaming was catching fire, but Big Time was lagging. So I was thinking that maybe this won't catch fire on time. And also, this wasn't a huge position for me. So keep in mind, I have plenty of exposure. This was 1 or 2% risk on my overall portfolio, the Big Time trade, and I still have like 80% exposure to crypto. So it's not like I'm totally out of crypto and I feel FOMO, but you could be totally out of crypto and still feel a lot of FOMO. And that's why you need to sit down and review, why did you make this decision? And in my case, when I zoom out, when I see this chart, it kind of calms me down. I know that the decision that I've taken for the moment and the information that I had right here, it was the right decision. And I know why I have taken this. And I know that long term, if I have this discipline and I follow such kind of plans, I'll do okay. Yes, definitely, there will be pumps like this one that I'll be missing, or on Big Time or on many other tokens that pumped a lot. But I know that long term, there will be more and more opportunities coming that we'll take advantage of. At the same time, on this first step, the worst thing that you could do is completely not have a plan, because a lot of people didn't have a plan here at this crossroad where I was buying heavily Bitcoin, and also here at 20K and even at 16K when we were buying down there. But if you don't have a plan, then you need to sit and think, are you really taking trading seriously, and why didn't you have a plan? So maybe other things will come out when you sit down in this first step that you need to review and go back and fix in order to be more prepared for opportunities in the future. The second step that you need to consider is that although you're feeling FOMO, and maybe the market is getting overextended at some point and the risk is increasing as the price is getting higher and higher, you could still find plenty of trades on lower time frames. And this is called TIA, it's Celestia. The project is brand new, it listed just a few weeks ago. And as you can see, it's been, flying right out of the gates. However, this is the daily. If we jump onto the 4-hour chart, for example, maybe you missed this initial pump and that's where you found out about Celestia and you're like, oh boy, I missed this. You start to feel FOMO and you see this leg up going on. However, there are quite a few opportunities here for entries. For example, this area around here, you can see that we had quite a bit of downside at one point. And even if we jump to the 1-hour chart, potentially, if you're really into this market and if you're really tuned in, you could have caught this leg down and potentially the legs pump. And even within this structure here, there are a couple of entries that I see. So first, if we use like a fib extension from here to the first leg right here, you can see that we tagged the 0.5 retracement. So this could have been the first initial entry, which is pretty good. But also you can see here on the 1 hour that we had reshift again into a bullish structure. So after this leg, we had a few higher highs, higher lows. Then we shifted structure here to lower highs, lower lows, and then we shifted it back again to bullish here on this higher high and a higher low. So here there's quite a bit of entries, even here on the higher high and then on the higher low, you could have entered, and even here on the breakout, which could have given you a bit more upside, as you can see. Let me just go back to the daily. So even if you enter there, you still could have made a bunch of money. And then there was a few more opportunities here to enter. Maybe this will give us another opportunity, but if you find a lower time frame setup that fits your system, fits your risk tolerance and everything, you could still enter. I don't think it's wrong. You just have to keep in mind that as price is going up, obviously the risk is going higher, and you need to keep really a tight ship and make sure you don't overbuy. This means like not overexpose with huge position size, and also be stricter when it comes to risk management as we go higher and higher. The last step, and really the life-changing step that you should do, is to write down all the reasons why did you feel the FOMO in the first place. And these things will make you discover a lot of things about you. And I just want to go through the process right now together with you on the big time trade and ask myself the questions. I've done this already, but I want to do it for you. And I want to show you what things could really be found within ourselves when it comes to trading. So the first thing is like, why do you feel this FOMO? So you can list the reasons. So for example, I missed the trade. You can write that, for example, you decided that this wasn't a good trade for you, but later the market proved you wrong. All the reasons for this. And then you go deeper. Why did you feel this? What was your plan? Why did your plan respond in this way to the setup? And in my case, for big time, is because I still have a bearish mindset. So I'm still, for the past 2 years, in a protective mode. So I'm in capital preservation mode. I do have quite a lot of risk exposure, even to myself. I have plenty of ordinal JPEGs. I have plenty of weird projects in my portfolio that are really a YOLO shot. And this one that was more technical setup and not a long-term hold, I was being protective because I know that these short-term trades in bearish conditions can really affect your P&L. And that's why I did play it a lot more conservative than I should have. Although, I see the market blowing up here and there, and so on, so on. I've been expecting a correction and I've had this bias, and I let this bias affect me. And for me, what this kind of helped me realize is that I also did not follow through on the chart. So I took the trade, I closed it, and then I forgot about this chart because there were several opportunities to enter. So my other criteria that I will write here is that I didn't spend enough time on the chart. So this could also be a reason, and here it could be many different reasons within this. So you might have had a lot of work to do, or you're having some trouble sleeping, you might have lost concentration, your daily routine is not intact. This process will uncover a lot of things that you might need to be fixing in your life that potentially, of course, this is gonna make you a better trader. But let me show you here on big time. When we go back to the chart, actually, even now, this could be a valid entry here on this retest and the potential secondary pump. But here you can see, even on the daily, even if I don't jump down one time frame that you should be doing if you're looking for setups in such a hot market, we still kept the structure. So I went through this, my last sales were somewhere around here in the 17-18 cents area, but still this was a higher low after a higher high, and then we had another higher high or equal high and a higher low. And this was one of the entries here, similar to Celestia that I showed you, and then this around 27 cents was another one, which was this kind of an all-time high if we disregard the initial wick. So there were plenty of ways to enter into this trade. You could see that the volume started picking up here, and you have to do this pretty much with every trade, I would say, with everything that you find as a problem in your process of trading. I personally write it down and I try not to share it with too many people, because some of the things that come out are, probably initially you won't be able to share with many people, or even you won't be able to admit it to yourself. So just be prepared of this and be very strict. Just respond to the questions as fully as you can, and then you'll see what are your weak points. And really, this is the best thing ever. And for me, that's why I say it's the best thing that happened to me, because now I'm starting to feel that, okay, I need to start shifting my mindset into a more bullish setups. And I also need to be ready to be stricter with my trades. And because in this one, I wasn't invalidated. There was no invalidation here that happened. I took some profit, so I should have left at least a runner until the trade was invalidated. So again, this was me being a little bit more cautious than usual, and another lesson for me learned. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna see you in the next one.